Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week. It's a Sunday. It is a scrutinizing Sunday because things happen and we must scrutinize our work so we make sure that we make the right steps moving forward. So, for those that don't know, my name is Sam Stevenson. I've been obsessing with construction for about the past 5 years of my life, and I'm going to be giving you guys my inside information on how I'm going to be building the best design firm that has ever existed week by week. Now, my background is in structural engineering and framing and all that nerd stuff. But I'm here to educate you guys today on how I'm going to leverage those skills combined with all the other stuff I know and the tech and the software that we have accessible to all of us nowadays. And I'm going to use all those things combined and I'm going to leverage them to generate economic energy that's going to both pay my bills, keep me alive, and hopefully grow something wonderful and grow and make opportunities for other people in the future as well. So we're going to generate some cash flow with those skills and things. That's what we're going to do. So if you have similar goals, then listen up because hopefully there's going to be something in here that you can use to learn and better your own life as well. So by the end of the stream, you're going to understand what are some of the mistakes I'm making along the way as I'm learning them. So then you can skip those parts, just learn from me. And some of the lessons I learned as a result of those mistakes, because if you don't learn the lesson from the mistake and you don't change anything about your behavior, then you haven't learned anything. So that's what we're going to be talking about. You're going to know what my strategy is to move forward in the particular industry that I'm in and what I'm actually going to be doing. That's right. At the end of the stream, I'll talk about what I'm going to do over the coming week. Because remember, folks, if you don't do anything different, you are going to go nowhere. So if you got any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it here. So, first things first, let's cover some mistakes and lessons learned. This last week has been informative and these last few weeks have been informative in terms of learning about the industry. But I will say that there have been some big directional changes that are sort of in the works, and we're going to talk about those things. On a lighter note, the 3D printer I have is cranked along just fine. I'm just using regular PLA plastic. I switched over to using a light gray instead of a white for all my models. And the plastic is much more opaque, which is really good. It shows a lot more detail. It's just the white plastic on the white printed paper was just too bright, and so it's like you couldn't see a lot of shape. But the light gray plastic is a lot easier to see like depth and detail and stuff. So I'm gonna stick with that going forward, I think, because it's a little bit cleaner to see, a little bit easier to watch, and we'll go with that. So that's one of the light topics of conversation is I changed the color that I'm printing in, and of course I could print in any color, but we're going with that for now. So on a heavier note, there are some developments in the world of, so last week I talked a lot about copyright, and the main issue being that I had built a business around the concept of drawing plans fast, right? Rapid designs, lightning bolt. So the rapidity of my work is a function of my work ethic and my ability to just like draw for 12 hours straight and give someone a set of plans. That's like the biggest thing that makes the biggest impact. Now, I spend a lot of time and effort making sure that my drawing system is set up so that I can do that. And I'm as efficient, I'm as fast as possible. This is an ergonomic mouse, by the way, and this is relevant, promise. This thing, here's my reviews on this thing. I got it because I was like, well, I'm gonna be drawing a lot on the computer again, so let's make sure my wrist is good. Well, it puts pressure points on the side of my hand instead. And so like my wrist is good, but my hand is less good. And there's also like nothing fancy about this mouse. It's just some clickers and regular buttons. There was a time when I used a Logitech G600 mouse. It's a gaming mouse with a bunch of keypads on the side and a third clicker. The third clicker is basically like a shift key that gives you another access to different buttons. Anyway, so I could program all kinds of commands into the mouse. And when I was drafting as an engineer, I was super fast because I just never touched my keyboard. When I was using AutoCAD, the way you interface with the software is it's command based. And so if you want a line, you could type line or L, enter kind of thing, right? And so I just pre-programmed all those macros into the mouse so that when I hit a button, it would just do what I wanted. And I wasn't moving my left hand to use the keyboard much. So I could draft really fast. Well, I don't use AutoCAD as much, but I do use Chief Architect plenty, and there's plenty of ways I could take advantage of that. So I decided I was tired of this mouse, and also it's very tall. And so frequently what would happen is as the mouse is like in my right hand, if I pick up my hand to move it over to the keyboard and do something or move my hand back to the mouse, you don't think about these things, but mouses have always been a certain height, right? Well, this mouse is tall. And so the clearance height that's pre-programmed into my entire life of using mice is now knocking my mouse off my desk all the time because like I just keep hitting the top of it. So we're going to get a better mouse for that, but I don't remember how that was relevant. Oh, so that was relevant to speed. So we do all of these things to make sure that we can draft as fast as humanly possible so that we're just being the most efficient with our time. So if we get really good at something and our brain becomes super powerful, then the next thing in this industry, in this case, holding us back is the fact that the things in my head need to be on paper. Therefore, I must draw lines. And if I can speed up the line drawing process and make that faster, then I'm making my ability to use my brain a higher percentage of my work. Then, okay, I spend 10% of my time thinking of the solution and then 90% of my time putting it on paper. I want to change that ratio. I want to spend most of the time to thinking, little time putting it on paper. And so I'm just going to use my tools and my software to do that. So for now, because it's just me, that's the idea. So yeah, I grew a company based on the idea of speed, which is something I'm still going to keep doing because that's important to me. And frankly, the kind of people I want to be drawing for are the people who build expensive, big houses. And these are the kinds of people that value time. When you have lots of money, all of a sudden your time is something that you don't like spending. Time becomes like infinitely more valuable to you. So speed is something that's very valuable to those kinds of people. And so that's part of what I'm going to keep doing. But the big difference, the big thing that happened this week, and I saw it coming from last week's conversation about the whole copyright learning issue, which was that most of the industry just copies other people's plans and tweaks them. Most people just do that. Turns out that's not legal because people have a copyright to their concepts and their ideas. And so if they like sat down with Scratch and just moved rooms around and like created a layout from nothing, that belongs to their intellectual property. Like that belongs to them. And so coming upon all of the legalities surrounding that and all that stuff, I have decided as a long-term move that I am not going to participate in that because I want to build like a scalable functional company. And if you like, if part of your business model is doing things that are at scale, not legal, then your legal department is going to have a heck of a time with you later on as you get to that point. So it's like, it makes no sense if you're looking long-term. And so I'm at the point now, like I could do this all day long. Nobody cares about me. I'm small. Like not that many people know I exist. Yeah, I'm putting some stuff on the internet, but like if I were to go secret and just do this, I could do this and make great money. Because the reality of the situation is that because I'm so fast at drafting, I can make great money just copying, basically. Copying with tweaks. Like that was the business model. But came across this information. And so now I have to change the priorities, shift things around. And not all of the plans I've done were like that. And honestly, if I take like someone else's 3 different plans from other people's designs and people say, I like this part of this, I like this part of this, I like this part of this, then if I create a new thing from those combinations, the new thing is still my idea. So, you avoid it that way, but I realized that a lot of the connections I was making and the sales I was making and the builders I was getting on board with me are the kinds of builders that want that quick, cheap fix. And while that's something I can do, last week I decided, this is not something I'm going to do. Not a good long-term solution and, unethical kind of thing. So I figured at some point between last week, the one before that, and then this week, one of these builders was going to contact me with work, which, by the way, I need to survive. They're going to contact me and they're going to say, "Hey, I got this thing. Can you tweak this part of the house and just copy the rest of it? Just give me a quick set, that kind of thing, quick and dirty." Right. I was going to have to set some boundaries with, all right, where did this come from? Do they have permission to use it? If so, great. Let's just go right on ahead. Let's take care of this problem. And if not, then I need to customize this more. I can still work with this, but you have to understand that I can't just copy the whole right side of a building and have that be okay. So, sure enough, I had that happen. There was a builder that contacted me and wanted this done, and everybody's busy and doesn't always respond quickly. So I'm not ruling them out that I lost the business, but there was a conversation going, and I basically made it clear that, hey, I either need to they need to prove the copyright's not a problem with these plans, so prove the source, or I just need to change the plan more. So what happened, I believe, is this builder has a prospective client, because that's the way this all goes, right? The designer is the front end of the builder. The builder, to lock in clients to build houses, they need a design established, and therefore I'm part of the front end. And so they haven't been the client's not sold on this builder yet. So if the builder goes to the client and says, "Hey, where'd you get these plans? Prove that you have the copyright to them so that we can modify them." The builder's going to lose the client if the client is any kind of person that just took the plan from someone else. And so it's this circular problem of somebody has to say, that's not true. The customer at its root has to be someone who's willing to pay for the work that it takes to create a good design for them and their house. And if they're the kind of person that can't afford it or doesn't want it, those are the kinds of people that go and take copies from the internet and make that happen. And that's probably 95% of the people out there, because most people do what's expeditious to them. And they either don't know or don't care that they're copying someone else's thing. Before I became aware of it, I didn't care. I didn't think it was a big deal. So it's probably not a big deal. But so that was the situation. And basically, it's highly unlikely that builder is going to compromise his shot at getting a job, and he'll probably just find another cheap designer or someone who can knock it out for him and take care of it. Problem. So I effectively, potentially turned away work for the first time, which is fine, but also I'm not in a place where I need to be turning away work. I'm in a place where I need to be accepting everything I can do. The issue is that I found out that there's this thing I'm doing that's not legal, and therefore at scale, right? And so therefore, do I compromise in the short term, get the thing, get the money, and then at some point be okay, when I have this much money or when I have this much risk I can handle, I will then decide to be ethical? It doesn't work like that to me. It's either I know and I'm choosing to do the right thing or not. And so, yeah, we're going to go with it and see what happens. And so I'm just going to redirect 100% of my energy to being not that thing, that one thing. And so I might lose work. I might lose some of the builders that I have earned, that I have created these connections. If you've been following me along, this is the 7th Scrutinizing Sunday in a row. We're almost 2 months into this. And I have been calling and selling and trying to get connected with the people and get work. get people to trust me that I can do my thing. And yeah, just so happens to turn out that like I have earned people, and those people are not the kinds of people that I can like grow or scale with because like of this one particular problem. So what do? Well, we move forward. We just solve the next problem. So I need to find the right type of builder. And basically what that means is that like on some level that like money is a part of this, right? The size of the house is a part of this. And not necessarily, because there are people who will build very reasonable sized homes, and they're also willing to pay for a design that's just right for them. Those are the people that are the people that I want to work for, that I will work for, because anybody else is going to just copy something. So I got to find those people, and I have to find the builders that work with those people. That's what I have to do. And so I'm going to continue with the handing out models and stuff like that. But yeah, I got to find the right kind type of builder. The other thing I have to do is the entire front end of my business has to change in my workflow, because a majority of my work was starting from somebody else's design. I was like, starting from an existing floor plan. Somebody said, "Hey, here's this thing. Just copy it, tweak all this stuff." And it's like, all right, I'm a machine. I copy, redraw lines, yada, yada, yada. Boom. Here's a plan. Great. Ready to go. Everybody's happy. That was a majority of the work, not a majority, some of the work. And so I don't have the processes right now efficiently set up to like know how to do the scratch part. Like, okay, I've got a scratch. And thank goodness Chief Architect is great software for this. Like there's an entirely separate part of the software that allows you to move rooms and plan layout and then convert it into like drawing. So shout out to Chief Architect for that. If that's your, that's your thing, go ahead and go for Chief Architect because that's great. So I got to set that up now. And so that's what I'm doing. I did get connected with a fantastic builder. Of the 10 to 20 builders that I'm connected with, there's probably 2 that are really, really golden, and this guy I think is going to be one of them. So I'm going to do all I can to grow that relationship and give the highest possible level of service that I can. And what that's going to include is the fact that I don't know a lot about interior design and finishes, furniture, like that kind of stuff. Architectural styles, like all that art related design side is my weak spot. And so in order to be the best designer for those kinds of people, I have to learn that stuff. And so guess who's going to be spending their free time learning? Me. And so we're going to figure out how we're going to do that. But to become the most capable designer for those people, that's what we got to do here. So adapt these things to your industry. If this is your kind of thing and you're thinking about, wow, there's a particular client that I want to be the best for, but I'm lacking a skill, go find out how to get the skill. And if you have money, that's great news because you can trade the money for condensed education and save a bunch of time. And if you don't have money, you just have to spend the time. So go get as much free content as you can to learn stuff, but at some point you're going to have to learn. And I don't know if that's going to be like some kind of condensed online schooling that I go through or like formal schooling or whatever, but like I have a huge knowledge gap that I have to close to be able to do what I need to. So got to put the gas pedal on that and learn. So let's talk about learning mode versus earning mode. This is something I got from Hormozy. Shout out to Alex Hormozy. There's like 2 phases you can operate in your life. You're either learning or you're earning. And I thought I had put together a set of skills that was going to allow me to earn at a high capacity. And I did. Like it exists. The only problem is that the whole model is a bad model because it's based on an illegal activity. So, got to change course a little bit. So I'm going to probably and we should always be learning, but for example, if I was really good at a thing, I just need to maximize the time I'm doing the thing that makes me good money, and then I just make a bunch of money, right? And I do that until the point where I can't keep up and I start failing with something, and then I got to go learn again and change modes and fix that thing, and then like get out of learn mode, get back to earn mode. Like it goes back and forth. So I'm going to probably shift harder into learn mode, and like I got to try to do the earning and the learning as much as possible to like, survive and then make sure I'm solving the most important problems for the most important people. So you do both. So, yeah, if you're in a place in your life that you don't have many skills, you have lots of time, then you're probably in learn mode. You need to be trading all of your time to learn all of the best skills to be the best at something. And then later you get in a position where you'll earn the capacity of your skills. And then you maybe decide to like learn again and stuff, but two different places to be. So one of the comments that I wanted to share with you guys was I had mentioned something on a call with one of these builders, and the idea was that there was a service. That when you're in business, like you will find people that want you to do things for them that they either don't want to pay you for, or they do want to pay you for, but they don't want to pay you what it's worth. And they just want you to solve their problem, which is fine. Like that's when you're in business, you're here to solve people's problems. So, but if I make flower arrangements, for example, as my business, and somebody wants to order flowers, and then when I show up and deliver the flowers, they also want me to like sweep their kitchen, then I can be like, well, I can do that. That's something I could do, but it's going to, I guess, cost this much because one, I don't want to sweep your kitchen. And two, that's not what I'm in business for. So that's going to be less efficient. Therefore, like the flower making is it's my highest leverage activity. Therefore, I have to charge this much for my time. And if you want me to sweep your kitchen, you're just going to be paying that rate for the kitchen to be swept. And there are probably other people who are much better at sweeping kitchens that you will be able to pay less for because they're faster, and they still get paid a good amount of money, and you get your kitchen swept. It's like it's just you don't cross them. And so someone asked me to take care of a piece of work that is just not in my, like, I know how to do it, but I'm not interested. And so I mentioned a dollar amount per hour that it would be worth to me, and they balked at it. And the comment they made was, man, what are you, like a lawyer, like a law firm or something? And what came to mind was the fact that if you're working with someone like that, first of all, they don't understand value, time, and money. Like they don't understand that a person can solve a particular problem for a certain dollar value, and like the amount they get paid is proportional to the size of the problem they solve. So if this is a very important problem for you, then you should be willing to pay more money for it. And the reality is that like there are other people that could have done the thing for less money, but so if you're working with someone like that, they don't understand the value of time and money, and they also don't value your time at that rate as far as they know. Because here's the funny part. If I'm getting paid to make flower arrangements and someone pays me $1,000 for a flower arrangement, they don't know maybe that my flowers cost me $10. My time, I spent an hour arranging it, and I spent an hour delivering it. Something like that. Like I'm making this up, right? So, and I like my operating cost of my business is super low, right? Let's just say that all said and done, I was $800 in the green, right? So what effectively happened was I traded 2 hours of my life for $800 in the green, right? And like there's taxes and stuff, but like let's just say that, right? So my time doing that was worth $400 an hour because I used the time and all my access to everything, produced a thing, and that's what they paid because that it was worth that value to them. And maybe I have a great website, I have tons of great reviews, I've got all these things and they said, yes, I would like to spend $1,000 and get this exact thing. And there's a value equation Hormozy made for all that thing. But like, if that's what I'm able to do, that's what my time is worth. And so like this particular builder, I feel a little bit bad because like, well, apparently you are not in the business of trading your time for $300 an hour, or you are, you just don't know it. Cause like, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people that if they just do a great job, they could make more than $300 an hour if they find the right problem and they have a great solution for it. Like, it's not just lawyers who make $300 an hour. So if there was someone who was really great at flower arrangements and they were doing a very particular thing and had all this value baked into this thing, I'd pay $1,000 for it because I understand what I'm paying for. And the reality is the more money people have, the more wealthy they are, not necessarily rich, but like wealthy, the more they're going to understand that. And those are the kinds of people you want to be working for. You don't want to be working for everybody else who's going to nickel and dime you. So yeah, that's my take on that. And so I just wanted to share that little nugget because I thought it was entertaining. And also, yeah, no, figure out a way to solve a problem, make yourself very valuable, and you'll just like get paid for that. And don't feel bad because you're getting paid like lawyer rates or whatever. There's no such thing as a lawyer rate. There's no such thing as saying, yeah, a framer is worth $30 an hour. Like, no, he's worth what someone is willing to pay him to do a particular job. It's defined at the transaction every single time. It doesn't matter if the transaction was yesterday or today. People pay what it's worth. So none of this guilt tripping stuff. One of the other things that came across was I'm currently in College Station, Texas, and I was in a meeting and some information was shared, like general industry information. It was like, okay, typically, and I could have probably looked this up on the internet, but like most of the homes in College Station are going to max out at like 1.5 million to 2 million, something like that. And that's fine. But one of the things it says, it could say two things. One of the things that it says that what came up in the meeting was that, like, that's just the kind of money that lives in College Station. And when I say money, I'm referring to people, right? People who have a capacity to earn huge amounts of money that could get them a 2 to 4 to 5 to 6 million plus dollar house. They don't live in College Station. And so if your goal is to be networking and being around those kinds of people, then College Station's not the best place to be because they're just not there. If your goal is to network with people that like, hey, you know what, we're okay, like solving less complicated problems in life because we only need a certain level of lifestyle. And we're like, you can still build massive wealth. Like the people that have crazy wealth and live in a $4 million house, those are people who have solved very big problems that like those are inspirational people to me, right? Like I want to be around those people. I want to be learning from those people. Some people like couldn't care less. Some people want to be like, yeah, like, you know, I want a simple lifestyle. I'm okay with a 1,500 square foot house, 1,000 square foot house, like keep it simple. I want it to be nice, but like, I don't need big. I don't need fancy. It's just like not where they get their enjoyment in life. And that's cool. That's fine. Everybody has different goals. And I don't know exactly where I'm at, but I know that that level of problem solving is very attractive to me. And so I want to be around that. So that was dropped to me and I was like, okay, well, there's lots of reasons to live in certain places, logistics, family, all these like tons of reasons that go into where somebody lives. But I realized that the building market of College Station is not going to be super lucrative for getting a lot of the kinds of design work that I think I want. And so luckily for me, I'm selling to all of Texas, and there's lots of big metropolitan areas in Texas where people build like spec homes that are worth 1.5 million, right? Just massive suburban spec homes. So like the customs, of course, go crazy beyond that. So like that's cool to me. That's attractive to me. So, that'll be a calculation in terms of how we do business and where things go and stuff from going forward. But that's that. Um, and the other thing that came up was because of the particular set of skills that I have found from meeting multiple builders and like throwing these models out all over the place is that there's and like, I got to be careful here because I'm trying to run a business service. Like my service is design. I am not interested in becoming a consultant. I'm not interested in selling as a consultant. However, right now at the time, I like where I'm at in my life, I'm interested in like being a whore for money. Like I will use my brain and solve people's problems for money in pretty much any way. And I found out one of the particular ways I was doing it wasn't legal. So okay, X that out. But like, yeah, I'll explore lots of ways because I do want to lift everybody up. I want to I want to make the world a better place, right? Help people and stuff. But like, so I'll do that for now. But I found out that there is a place for me to basically step into other existing in-house drafting businesses and help them fix theirs because I like my product looks nice. I spend a lot of time developing how I've produced it. And so I have a great process. And so I've shared that with other builders and like, wow, this is really great. Can you help us get here? Can you help us get to this place? So I'll do that. You know, everything has a price, but I'll do that. And so we'll see where that goes. And also, like, you can trade goodwill, you can trade networking, all these great things. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Last week, my friends, just trying to survive, you know. I was looking up how to, well, let's see, what did we do last week? Oh yeah. So I need a professional platform to communicate all of the value in like who I am and the design work that I'm doing. And it also needs to be a platform that I can share in a particular way. So I'm pretty sure that a website is actually going to end up being a good solution for me just because of like the nature of the business that I'm in. I had a website before when I was running Stevenson Construction and Stevenson Home Solutions. I did that. Now at the time I had no idea what I was doing with the website, but it's a massive like place to have all the just proof that you are someone who's going to solve their problem. Like in the value equation, you've got perceived likelihood of result on top and the dream outcome. So you improve those things. And then on the bottom, you have the time delay and the effort and sacrifice. And so you could use a website to target each one of those four things. And someone just by looking through your stuff is going to trust you more and have a way better like likelihood of you getting the thing you want. So I think that's going to be the best thing. My Instagram right now is the heaviest thing that's got the most of my stuff, but it's a social media platform. And like some people don't have Instagram and it's a great, it's going to be my branding like solution. That's like most of my branding is that and YouTube for all my educational, whatever. But the website I think is going to be a better place. So I'm going to come up with something on how to solve that and where to get that. I have a meeting today that is part of solving that problem. And I hope you guys like it because it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Of course I think it's cool. It's about me, and I'm selfish. I'm not going to be doing any cold calls for a bit because I think the best way to like spread awareness and get attention is these models. To quote one of the builders, I got an inbound response of someone I had not reached out to that I did not know, because I dropped off a model at at their building office. And I said, hey, I make these, my information's on a sticker on the bottom. Reach out to me if you want to start a conversation. Super simple. Just give them something cool. Be like, hey, I'll make you one for free. You know, just lead with some value. If they take it, then great. And like, if that creates a conversation that you can then like trade value with in the future, great. And if not, then they didn't care in the first place. So no time wasted. So definitely going to scale the handing out the physical models thing for sure. and we'll see what that can create, because that seems to be the most effective at like creating genuine initial relationships with people that care. And the people that see the model are the kinds of people that are going to care about like a quality solution in general, because they're like, oh, here's this thing that's above and beyond that's probably a little bit more expensive, but it solves a very great problem. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated. But I'm on the bend of a directional turn right now, and so it's like right in the middle of it. So we'll keep you guys up to date on the Instagram stories and everything as well. So yeah, we had the Q&A call last week as well, and the Frame It Fridays as always. But what are the action steps coming up this week? I'm going to make some developments in terms of setting up a website. Before I set up a website, I'm going to do lots of research, because here's a problem I've learned. Now, I recommend everybody reads the book Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, because I believe there's a piece in it that talks about like the types of failure modes of entrepreneurs, and like the personality traits that it takes to create an entrepreneur also make you like have weak points. And so the very thing that makes you good at being an entrepreneur also makes you like weak. And so I figured out my weakness from the last few businesses I've tried to run is I am more than willing to like work with the first thing I find, which is like might not be the best solution. And so both with the cold calling software and like other implementations I try to make, the 3D printer, for example, I've learned that like, don't just watch one YouTube video of one guy who liked one thing and go get that thing. Like find find a good majority of solutions, find which one's the right solution for you, and like take the time to do it. So I'm going to do that, but with website platforms. I've used Wix in the past because I was like, oh, that one came up first, so obviously I'll use that one. Not necessarily the best solution. And so I'm going to look at a bunch. I'm going to find out who is the best price for what I need, yada, yada, yada. If I find the one that works, then that's the one I'll use. So I'll share the models, create the website, keep up with the work that I've got, and create some relationships with some great people. And we'll charge on forward. That's what we're going to do. We have the Q&A call Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central. If you want to hang out, ask questions, learn stuff, come hang out. The link is going to be generally in the school server below, which I temporarily deactivated. But if you go to my Instagram and DM me and whatever, I'll give you a link. I also usually try to post a link on my stories. Sometimes I don't do that. But I got that. The Frame It Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Central. That's live here on YouTube. And we have another IRL meetup. This is the second IRL meetup for Rapid Designs, whatever you want to call it. And here in College Station, we're going to have a good time. It's this Saturday, and we'll just get together. We'll enjoy good food, good camaraderie. We'll go look at some construction, learn some cool stuff, and just have a good time. So that's what we're going to do. And the next one after that's going to be October 26th. So if you miss this one, don't worry. There will be another one, and I will try to continuously do these because I value the people that we can meet in person. So appreciate it. Thanks for spending your valuable time watching, and I will see you guys next week or whenever I see you next. Let's take it out with some one and only Green Observer.
That's the code.